Well, ghosting is a common term for when someone stops a relationship by ending all communication abruptly without any explanation. So this can have a very negative effect on the person who's being ghosted and the people around them. So here to tell us more about ghosting and how it affects those who are being ghosted is marriage and family therapist, psychotherapist Margena Carter, as well as a relationship expert. Margena, thanks for being here. This is a relatively new term, this idea of ghosting. Let's first explain for people who are not familiar with the term exactly what ghosting is.
Yeah, so ghosting is a form of silent treatment, right? This is when we stop all communication in the relationship abruptly versus saying, hey, I no longer want the relationship. The word is new, but it's not something that's new. People have been ghosting for forever.
This is kind of the modern day Dear John letter,
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. The modern day, ignore the email, right? But because we have so much access to folks, we can see when they're not responding, right? They may not respond on the phone, but then they're liking a picture on Instagram. So it's been around for a while, but the thing is that because everyone is so accessible to each other, it makes it difficult to see when someone is not responding to your message, but you see them online.
Can I just state the obvious here?
Yes.
Like, can we all just go back to being adults and say, hey, can you communicate with me? Like, is there something wrong? Or can the person who's ghosting just be an adult and say, hey, I'm mad at you for X, Y, and Z? Or just say, look, I need a break from you because you've really ticked me off.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? We want people to say, put on your big boy pants, stop running, put your running shoes away, adult, communicate. Because when you're not communicating, I think the thing is that it's so hard for people to understand. Why can't you just tell me you no longer want the relationship? But ghosting is a convenience. People don't want to have the breakup conversation. They don't want to hurt your feelings. And sometimes they may feel like, you know what, this relationship is not even worth it. So why take the time to tell them all the reasons why I don't want the relationship? I can just stop responding and eventually they'll get the hint.
Right, avoid the uncomfortability. Okay, so let's talk about the negative effects of ghosting and really what we can work on internally if we feel like we've been ghosted, because it can have a very negative effect, especially with younger people.
Absolutely. Well, the negative effects, I think, number one is abandonment, right? So people feel abandoned and it's confusing. We don't know what to do. When we're ghosted, it doesn't give us the opportunity to say, what did I do wrong? How can I change it? If this is something that happened in this relationship, have I done it in the past? Is this why people are ghosting? If you don't tell me what I've done wrong, how do I know to change it for future relationships? And so I think the biggest thing is understanding that when someone is ghosting you, it's not so much about you. It is that they struggle with communicating their disinterest, and that we have to be okay, unfortunately, with the silence. But I would say pop into a therapy office, talk to your therapist, even talk to friends and say, hey, do you notice some things that you feel like I can do differently in the communication department? Someone ghosted me, they're not telling me why, but maybe you can give me some insight into some things that I can change, because this person was too cowardly to say, hey, you're stalking me, right? Hey, you're calling me too much. Back off a little bit, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's a great idea to really turn the focus internally and figure out, okay, why have I been ghosted? What could I have possibly done? And maybe that might help me in relationships moving forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really important for people to understand that even if you are ghosting someone, and I think that sometimes it's difficult when these are new relationships, right? If maybe we're just dating, I would say it might be okay. I don't want to tell someone I'm just newly dating, hey, this is a laundry list of why you're not fitting me, right? Maybe we'll leave that to the algorithm for Match. But the thing is that if we've been in a long-term relationship, I owe that to you to say, this is not working, and I would love to continue a friendship, but something romantic is not going to continue. It's okay to have those tough conversations. But a lot of times people struggle with being forward, being blunt, being direct because they don't want to come off rude.
And even you know, if that's hard to have an personal conversation, you can do the old-fashioned Dear John letter, get your point across in an email, a long text message, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I mean, and even sometimes folks say, well, why would I break up with someone over text message? But why would you ignore them? There is never a good time to break off a relationship, but the best time is to do it when you feel it and not wait until things are too tough. You've waited too long. You've thought about how to do it the right way. You don't find the right way, so the best way is just to ignore and ghost. That's not the right way to do it.
All right.
Express yourself.
Let's work on a ghost-free 2020.
Yes, ghost-free 2020.
Margena, so much fun. Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Great advice. The year of love.